course, the parish council oath is postponed. And also, just to let you know that the food drive, we're still, if you want to support, we still have the food drive. We haven't delivered yet because the kitchens are really full with food from other churches and other people who donate. So we'll give a little later, and that way when they're running lower on food supplies, we give it later. So the foods, if you wish to make any donations, it goes to the soup kitchen. You may do so and put it in the hall in that wagon that we have outside. We have about a few poinsettias left. Somewhere in the hall, I think there's two small ones inside the hall, and in the hallway there are some. So if you haven't taken one yet, and you'd like to take one, it's there, no charge of course, and please take it. Stewardship, of course, take care of your stewardship. And also, I'm not sure if we have somebody who's supposed to do coffee hour. If she's not here, I'm not sure if she's here. Oh, you did coffee hour? Okay. Because I was going to suggest that we buy the pastries. The dance club had to cancel their dance yesterday. So they have extra bakes, things that they bake and whatever they had. So if you wish, if that's on sale, if you wish to buy a plate of batter, it's pastries, a bunch of local kind of cookies, whatever they have, you may purchase inside when we have the coffee hour. So just a few words, I commemorate you for coming out in this weather. Not everybody does, as we see, but it's good that you're here, and God bless you. Today's gospel again is about gratitude, which is one of the great virtues of Christianity. If not one of the greater virtues is gratitude, to be faithful to God and to thank Him and for whatever we have. As a matter of fact, there are ways, many people, how do we become grateful? Sometimes we're not. We don't really have that understanding maybe, or we forget to say thank you to God, or even to other people. And I would suggest, how do I train myself to think of those things? And I would say one of the things would be that if we see it like a rainy day, and say, look at this lousy day, the snow and all this, I got to do this. And I would say, look how beautiful. As a matter of fact, I walked out of the house and said, what a beautiful scene. It's beautiful. The trees are covered with white. It was just beautiful. And then instead of taking the negative, take the positive. What's positive about today? It's great. If you have to cook every night and you say, I gotta cook tonight, I gotta get up, rather than saying, thank God I have the food I can do I'm feeding my family. Instead of the negative, pick up the positive. And other things. So in other words, don't complain about everything, but put a positive tone on it. And that way, I think it builds our strength and being able to be grateful. How many times a man, if you open the door for a woman and she just walks in, no thank you, many of them do that. As a matter of fact, I think these days people are afraid to say thank you. They're afraid to say good morning to each other. I live in an apartment complex, and yet many people say, I would say good morning to whoever I see. I don't always get a response, which is okay. I don't care. I do care, but rather than being positive about it. And good morning to you. I think that again it brings us up to again this sense of gratefulness. And why do I mention gratefulness? Because it comes in the Bible today. Again, it's the story. I know most probably all of us know the story of the 10 lepers. Those who were sick. Leprosy, by the way, in those days was tragic. Because of the sun and the sand and the dryness, the water wasn't there. The hygiene wasn't there, so many people got sick with what was called leprosy. It still exists today, by the way. Leprosy, which again eats at the flesh. And if you had a bad case of it, you might have distortion in your face and everything else, which was a terrible disease. And also, they thought it was catching, that you can get it right away, which is not true. You have to be a little more intimate to get leprosy, but they thought it was contagious, so they had what they call leprosy colonies. If you had leprosy, you were shunned from community. You could not go close to the people. You could not go into the markets. You could not go into town. If you were walking with anybody else, you had to stay. I think it was about like at least 20 feet away. You cannot come close to the person that's in society. So forget the marketplace, forget any kind of social meetings. Probably when they went to for the Hebrews, if they went to temple, forget it. I don't think they had a place for lepers, so they couldn't go to temple. And if they were Arabs or whatever they were in those days, they were excluded from coming close. So there were 10 of them. We all know that. There were 10 of them that had leprosy. They knew Jesus. They heard about Jesus and all his miracles. They heard about him. And they saw him. And they went to him. They were screaming from 20 feet away at least, Jesus, have mercy on us. And he says, heal us. Heal us. And he said, and in those days, if you had a disease, it might have not been leprosy, it might have been another skin disease, whatever it might have been. And if you felt like you were cured, you'd go to the priests. And the priest would give you a release. Whatever that way system worked. You had to go to the priest, and the priest would tell you you're cured. You can go with your family. You can go with in the marketplace. You can go and do this because you're cured. So Jesus said, go to the priests. And because they knew that he had done miracles. On their way, they were cured. They didn't even reach the priest. They saw they were cured. Their skin was clear, and they rejoiced. Look, we're healed. We're healed. And what happened again? I think we all know. Only of the 10, only one came back to Jesus. Gratitude. He realized what happened to him. I'm cured. I can go to my family. And before going to the family, he said, I will thank God for this man, Jesus. They didn't know he was God. But I will go back and thank this man. I will thank God for healing me. And Jesus, when he sees him, the man falls down, he says, thank you. Thank you for what you've done for me. And he said, where are the other 9? What are the other 9? All Hebrews. All Hebrews. Jesus was a Hebrew. This man was a Samaritan. As the gospel says, he's a foreigner. A foreigner. He came back to thank God. He's the one who had the gratitude. Were there not 9 of you? Where are the rest? I think it's not any different today. I think I told this before. When I first came to this church, in those days we had telephone books. Does anybody know what a telephone book is anymore? But anyway, we had telephone books. And I would go through every name in the telephone book in Orange and Sullivan County, and I looked for a Greek name. And I called them up, because we had very few people that came who were Orthodox, and I let them know, hey, we have a church here, there's a priest here, I'll come to church. And most of them did not, which is understood. No, we didn't have a church. Now I'm going to a Protestant church, or whatever it was. Or some said, no, I never go to church. And some said, yes, that's great. And by that, I had on the list, I put them on the mailing, we had 1,000 people on the mailing list. 972, something like that. Every name I put down would send down the crossroads, and they would get it. Just to know that when we're here, we do have services at the time and all this kind of thing. And almost 1,000. And how many even today? Of all the Orthodox that we know come to church. for church's sake. Not for meetings, but for church's sake. Because I'm going to come to church and worship. 10% of all the names that I used to have, and many of them more, not that many names anymore, but of you that are here is about 10% of all the Orthodox that at least I recall. And there are even more. And there are even more. I didn't catch everybody. I didn't get everybody. I talked to everybody. And there are even more. Isn't that something? Gratitude to God. In other words, look what I have. I have a home. I feed my children. I send them to school. I'm able to afford it. If not, I'm able to support them, whatever I do. Thank you, Lord. Not thank me because, look, I do so well. I do so well, I can do it myself. We don't do it ourselves. We do it by the grace of God who has given us the talents and the gifts that we have. That's where the gratitude ought to be. To God in all things. How many times do I say it? It seems that almost every if we're talking about any kind of sin, it all comes to the same thing. God is first in all things. All things. And Jesus was disappointed. Yeah, we say, the road to the kingdom of heaven is narrow. It's narrow. That's what the Bible says. Whatever that means for us, I don't know. I don't know what that narrowness means. It doesn't mean, I hope it doesn't mean that only 10% of the human race is going to go to heaven. I don't think so. But who knows? Only 10% came back to Jesus to give thanks. For all that we have. In other words, keep it in your mind and keep it in your heart and let your soul do the work of the Lord. That's what I would say to all of us. So may God bless you all.